We're live, allegedly. Am I a little early? No, on the bang, 10:01 Central Standard Time. Here we go. We've got Candace in the background. Why has that locked up? Oh no, it's still there. It's still going. All right. I've got so many screens here. All right, we're going to talk about, via talking about Candace Owens, we're going to understand the levels of manipulation going on. It will prove to you, if you have two brain cells with the knowledge that videos like Hypernormalization by Adam Curtis, All Watched Over by Machines of Loving Grace by Adam Curtis, tens of millions of views. Shadowgate, Millie Weaver and Gavin Wentz, Patrick Berge, two series which got tens of millions of views. And it would seem, greeting to DNCD, RD, it would seem that despite all of this knowledge, despite tens of millions of views, we still sit and watch endless, non-stop manipulation. It is endless. Absolutely endless. And it's demoralizing, and how anyone could believe Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson were real grassroots alternative people when they have direct links back to Eton, the elite schools, the House of Lords, British MI6, but it's not MI6, it's City of London via MI6. Or their links in with Qatar. Sharia law's wonderful. All right, this is MI6 drug money laundering territory. This is the City of London banking and financial sector territory. Qatar, Dubai. That's all they do is launder drug money. That's why all the Russian hookers are in Dubai. I was in Dubai. I could watch them walking out of their hotels. It's Sharia law there. They're all half naked, literally half naked, wandering around. And the Arabs will beat the shit out of them and drink whiskey and do cocaine. But don't you do it if you're not one of the elite. And then they'll beat the crap out of them and deport them from the country. And a lot of them are running back with Andrew Tate. We're going to link Andrew Tate, Candace, and Tucker with that whole network. People think Tucker Carlson is literally, hello there, Max Maximus, hello, hello. They're literally operating out of his daddy's garage. People believe Tucker Carlson is the alternative media operating out of dad's garage. He was invested to the tune of tens of millions of dollars by Rebekah MERCER. That's the ones who funded Cambridge Analytica. And we're going to go back into the history. Nigel OAKS, British intelligence, MI6, NATO, psych warfare programs on European countries. This is who Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson are involved with. The House of Lords, for crying out loud, via Lord Michael Farmer. The gay boyfriends, the gay sperm donor's father. And you mean to say people are sitting there believing that Candace Owens is going to save them from the perfidious elite Jews of Europe and the UK and the City of London? She can't even tell me who did 9/11. Do you seriously think anybody is a serious threat to Jewish power in the political Zionist movement, and they can't tell me who did 9/11? Candace Owens has said the name Rothschild once. When? Recently, because she's under pressure on Sean Ryan, the guy that's on, I've been told, one saw 17 million, and the other guy said, no, he's on double that. $30 million a year, Sean Ryan show, all grassroots with his little devil's horns, his goat horns, pure masonry, all the colours. They're always in red and black. They're always doing hand signs, the whole stinking lot of them. And Candace Owens says, you know, she's talking, she's positive, her body language, and blah, blah, blah with Sean Ryan. And suddenly Candace says, well, ultimately, and don't quote me, I'm just going from memory, she says, it's Rothschild. But the way she said it, it's Rothschild. Because she's been told to say it, but she can't say too much. And yet none of the internet, and I can't find a single person that's going to tell me that the daddy-in-law of Candace Owens is literally best friends with King Charles and Lord Jacob Rothschild before he passed on to hell, via the Council of Christians and Jews and the Jewish Board of Deputies, one of the most powerful rabbis out of the Jewish Board of Deputies. But no one can tell you that. No one can link in, what's Andrew Tate doing? Because Andrew Tate's a twink. He's a male escort for the gays of the Mayfair set, the rich elites of London, and he runs errands. And he's got Russian hookers running down with diamonds in their vaginas, and they've got stuff up there. They made their money by running diamonds backwards and forwards, him and his brother putting stuff up their assholes. Diamonds for Chabad. He's gonna get his Andrew Tate says he was going to get his $90 million yacht or $50 million yacht and join the flotilla. What, with your Chabad friends? These people are all in with Chabad Lubavitch, all of them. That is the ring that binds them all. So that is what we're going to talk about. And we'll talk about the history of Cambridge Analytica and SCL Group. Once we get the hang of that, we can see all the links back into the elite of British aristocracy, the absolute elite. And there's Tucker Carlson and Candace OWENS. Boo the Jews! The Jews killed Jesus. Oh wow, they're really gonna attack Jewish power. They ain't attacking nothing. They can't even tell me who did 9/11. Tucker Carlson literally said, I don't know who did 9/11. But if only the CIA would release the files, we could find out. And then his special guest said the CIA did it. 5-part series. And yet, if you know your history, you will know that Fox News in 2001 November did a 4-part series with Brit Hume and Carl Cameron. Tucker Carlson's friends with Brit Hume. They did a 4-part series exposing the whole thing, everything we talk about. The takeover by Israelis of computers, databases, the DEA, backdoors, you name it. November 2001, 25 years ago. You find someone talking about that. And there's Chris Boleyn on the playlists, which are always linked below when I upload this. Lo and behold, there's the playlist, and there you will find Brit Hume and Carl Cameron telling you all about it. But Tucker Carlson, the grassroots enemy of the perfidious Yahud, the perfidious Jews. The Jews killed Jewzzz as they killed Charlie Kirk too, on stage at Ari Emanuel's World Wrestling Federation Charlie Kirk Memorial. And they're all over. They're all linked in with Ari Emanuel. They're linked in with the cage fighting, UFC. They're linked in with Endeavor Group, which is Ari Emanuel, literal Israeli intelligence royalty in the World Wrestling Federation. Donald Trump's super agent for over 20 years. And there's Rahm Emanuel handling the other side, handling the morons, the AOC. She's being handled by Rahm Emanuel. Don't believe for a second Rahm Emanuel's not handling her. So you have all of this evidence, Chabad Lubavitch in the White House. That's why I want him gone. So I'll say good things about the Trump administration, but until I see Chabad denounced and disavowed by Donald Trump, or if he gets shot in the head, hopefully, whoever replaces him, Paul Singer's Marco Rubio or J.D. Vance, they're all the damn same. Please stop. They're all the same. But sworn enemies of Trump still won't tell me about Chabad Lubavitch. Tucker Carlson has insulted Trump personally non-stop. Won't tell me about Chabad Lubavitch. Jared Kushner has mentioned Ari Emanuel in his life once, where he said Ari Emanuel is responsible for a lot of degenerate pop culture. Oh, that's great. Have you got anything more to say, Tucker? Like the fact that Ari Emanuel is literally Israeli intelligence royalty, linked in directly with Arnold Milchan, the Hollywood producer who's also dealing in atomic weapons devices and taking them all the way back to Israel, who now lives in Highgate, London. They ran him out. He was literally run out by US intelligence. We've got a few more people to run out, don't we? And you're going to sit there and tell me that you can't work out what Candace OWENS and Tucker Carlson is? If I'm the mayor of a corrupt New York City and the mob runs me, and I say, I'm out here to get the mob is bad, boo the mob, and then you mention Mylansky, and then you might mention, yeah, bad things have happened, and yeah, the mob's bad, and then you say, but wait a minute, we have indictments here. There are 400 murders. Here are their names. Here is how they're running things. Here's how the money flows. Here's how this flows. And the mayor's like, oh, you'd know straight away that the mayor is performing damage control to hide organised crimes, right? Wouldn't you? You'd get it straight away. But you can't work out Tucker Carlson and Candace OWENS, who are literal in the tens of millions of dollars. They fly first class. Whose private plane do you think Tucker Carlson was flying on when he went to Israel? That's Rebekah MERCER's. Whose private plane did the Tates fly in on? Rebekah MERCER. Who's flying to first class with Charlie Kirk in 2018 to London? Who were they meeting at Turning Point USA? They were meeting George Farmer and Daddy, Lord Michael Farmer of the House of Lords, a peer, baron in fact, directly linked with Lord Jacob Rothschild. He's one of the fund managers for Rothschild through metal trading. He's like a foundation front, like Ehud Barak when he was talking to Jeffrey Epstein. Where do you think Epstein was getting the money from? From the Rothschilds. Who is direct links with the Rothschild? Tucker Carlson and Candace OWENS. That's who has direct links with the Rothschilds. I hope you're beginning to understand. Let me quickly change microphones. Video broadcast, because I realize I'm live and you will hear all the sounds in the background. So everything's working. Let's say a quick hello. This is also an experiment because I actually don't mind live streams, but they were hell. And if I mentioned I was doing one, forget it. They never worked, not once. Could it be that 9/11 was a display of the exact infrastructure issues related to ICC chips? Yes, that is correct. Yeah, 100%. Chris Boleyn went right into it, as did Fox News. Fox News went into it November 2001. Boys are to show the US and others exactly what can happen. It would explain a lot of 9/11. Yes, the radar systems, RAD Group. You saw me put about RAD Group. Who's heard of them? I had a joke with Jaleel, and Jaleel's Shia Muslim. And I've got Shia and Sunni friends, and they're all the same. It's all a fraud, Brendan. Don't trust any of them. The whole thing's corrupt. We get it. The Wahhabis are all been in bed with Israel since forever, since they killed good King Faisal, who, if I had to be ruled by a benevolent king, it would be King Faisal. Definitely. That's what a good king looks like, but they're as rare as hen's teeth. And in the age of AI and automated systems, you can't trust no benevolent king, because you're going to get a bad king eventually. You're going to get, and your guardian council are going to be corrupt and bad. And lo and behold, they don't rely on other humans who can bring them to heel, who can limit their power. They're just all automatic machines. And that's, if you grasp that, that is the huge danger we face. That's why there can be no return to the Garden of Eden, where there can be no return to the crown corporate. There can be no return to the commons with a benevolent king and barons. No, they're all robber barons. They're all filthy. They're corrupt. And now they will have control of automated systems. God help us. And I notice the Trump family is cashing in on automated systems, robots. It's just filth. The Trump family are filth. I get it, but I also believe that we're going to have to be very careful if you think just getting rid of Trump is going to get rid of the problem. But I think we could make a start by the denouncing and the disavowing of Chabad Lubavitch. Howard Lutnick's got to get him out. Get all of them out. Kushner should just be booted out of the damn country. Put a bullet in his head, threaten his whore daughter, get him out. Get him out. Immediately. And these are the problems we face. Then they say, but Marco Rubio is pushed by Paul Singer. Yeah, he's a piece of shit too, and he hates Trump. So does Murdoch, despises Trump. Tucker Carlson's never liked, nobody likes Trump, personally. Not even Steve Bannon, but he's a weapon. He's a disruptor. He's the bull in the china shop. He's the madman. We get it. But at what point do we go, I think I'm a little over all this. Can we just get a better actor, please? Will that play? Do I have my better actor thing? Let's try this.
Do we have to put up with this? I mean, can't we get a better actor? I know it's a small part, but I think we can do better than this.
Did it work? Let me know in the comments. Look, live streams can be fun because you got to be on your toes, and I'm always a nervous wreck. But I'm in a new place. I have control over the router. Well, some control. There's no one else using it, the Airbnb. And it's brand new, very expensive one, like an expensive connection. But I'm already watching a lot of things go on. But let's quickly talk. Yes. The 9/11 stuff, absolutely so relevant. Now, Harvey of Geopolitics and Empire did a good interview as an academic. But again, he's in it for the money. He can't get work. He's ruined himself with COVID. I call them the COVID kids. They all turned up with COVID. Now they're all red-pilled and they know everything. We're taking on the satanic child-murdering elite and they're just half-wits, all of them. And unfortunately, a lot of them truly think they're taking on the system. And I couldn't get any of them interested, including Geopolitics and Empire, in Mary Silver. Mary Silver is now going great guns with the grassroots of the Republican Party in Seattle, Washington, which is Commie Central. They love her. And every single Republican Party hack and handler is literally hissing at her. And everyone's saying, listen, history's taking place right now. Everybody's saying these people are not even classic conservatives or even Republicans. These are Democrats. Mary Silver's opposition, Susan Delbeni, that little whore, that little treasonous traitor, I use that term very specifically, whore. You are for sale, totally for sale. I mean, they're all for sale. She's for the working class. Another one of these working class multi-millionaires like Bernie Sanders going to save us all, who have no concept of hypocrisy or irony or embarrassment. Delbeni's worth $130 million and has Cayman Island accounts. She's dining with Israeli Boeing and Israeli Microsoft executives. And she's shit scared. Mary says she's so scared. You don't understand the damage Mary Silver is doing. And you're going to go, oh, she must be a Green Beret. Brendan O'Connell must be a special service soldier. It's all a grand by the Q-tard, trust the plan, the white hats in the military. No, it's ordinary people. You just don't get it because you're still in your Hollywood Fantasyland bullshit because they've convinced you that ordinary people can't change things. But ordinary people can change things when you do this. Focus on the military, private security contractors. I did it for over 10 years. Don't talk about little brown people and human rights because the people at the top couldn't give a crap. But when you go, hey, do you know they're in all your infrastructure and they've got power over you and they can turn your infrastructure off and they're stealing all your money and all your IP? Ding. I wish I had a ding button. Oh, and instantly you have their attention, which reminds me, Mossad in ASIO office. This is gold. The trouble is this half-wit who's pushing it is some Greens young global leader half-wit. Maybe he means well, but he goes after the head of ASIO here and the deputy of ASIO and says, what was President Herzog doing in ASIO? He's the head of state. What's he doing in ASIO office? Oh, we can't tell you. He says, this country has stolen all our passports, assassinated people, and backdoored our battle management system at great expense to remove it. Gold. Thank you. This is all my work. Me getting my arm broken, nearly killed, just losing everything. These are the fruits. Perhaps the last fruits as Pluto goes across as my Aquarius ascendant into my first house. 18 months. So I can just hold out for 18 months. Just Mary Silver's just the only thing keeping me going. Trust me. 18 more months, Lord. Into the first house. Lord have mercy. Anyway, I'll do a quick look at comments and I'll get the hang of this. I'm not used to doing live streams at work, particularly when I give it 24 hours notice. So yes, Skrill A4B, yes, 9/11, yes. But what was I talking? Geopolitics and empire. Admitted, I just thought it was a waste of time. It's over. It was 25 years ago. And I just went, what? He said, yeah, I know. You insulted Lou Rockwell on Substack. And I did. I remember, you're a fucking retard, dude. Chris Bollin exposed this all 2007, 2008. Where's his book? Chris, where's your book, bro? Yeah, Chris has got his own set of problems, but that's in my room. 9/11, Chris Bollin. He had a hard-on for Putin. But when he finally worked it out, we kept contacting him in 2019. He never said another word. He was being used by German intelligence and others. Again, multipolar world order building up, breaking off America from Israel. That's the point. Get out of the Middle East. That's why Tucker and Candace are there with Cambridge Analytica and the Mercers and British Intel and MI6 and NATO. Get out. Once you understand NATO is not an American-run operation, it's run by the EU. Their assets are all through that place, all through it. So yes, 9/11 is relevant. He said yes, and he went and got Bollin's book and he went, wow. But does he talk about it? I haven't watched any of his stuff for a long time. And I can pretty much assure you they don't talk about it. 9/11 is irrelevant, I heard someone say. I was like, oh my God. Mass murder, 3,000 dead Americans in a couple of hours. Another 10,000 die from the complications of breathing the toxic dust. 68,000 American troops killed over 20 years. That's 68,000 American families. Another 160,000 suffer serious and permanent injuries. You then have 2 million dead Arabs, not counting the psychological and physical trauma. 2 million dead Arabs all the way from Libya to Syria, to Gaza, to Iraq, to the whole thing. And people think it's not relevant when it's all Rothschild. Every company involved in that thing, the computer companies, P-Tech, it's all Rothschild. Ehud Barak, Rothschild. Epstein, Rothschild. It's all Roth. These are all fronts. Lord Michael Farmer, Candace Owens' daddy, and there's Candace. She likes her sweet milk chocolate and he likes the dark chocolate. Apparently, no, he doesn't like dark chocolate. He doesn't like anything. He's been ordered. He's been ordered into this relationship. He wants to play Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, the half-wits. This is all arranged out of Rothschild. They met the Rothschild network in 2018. Her and Charlie Kirk were assets of Rothschild. Turning Point USA was an asset of Rothschild. SCL Group, all run by Nigel OAKS, and we'll go into it. Turning Point USA was that operation. They created the other side, the half-wits that believe how many we can have multiple PPs and who has a vagina, and right? They create that horse pucky, the transgender issues. Trannies are coming for your kids. Then they create Charlie Kirk. He goes in and says the sun rises in the west, and everyone gasps at his logic. They were creating their heroes. We will create their heroes. We will give them their heroes. This is the game of trillionaire bankers. When I'm a trillionaire banker and I have access to psychological warfare programs, I have a vast network who will sell out for money. I give them a narrative. We're making the world a better place. These things are complicated. These things are handled quietly. And lo and behold, you've got a vast network of half-wits who don't want to die alone and are worried about their careers, and they sell out. And that's what we have today. And now that's why they're in everything. And that is the relevance of 9/11. Rothschild, Rothschild, Rothschild. And the best Candace can give you is Bridget Macron has a PP and Charlie Kirk's underpants, which colours in their personal fight with that half-wit you see on your screen now. A literal drunken bum, chain-smoking, coke-addicted half-wit who's a conservative gentleman. Wouldn't know Christ if Christ got up and belted him in the face. It's just a complete fraud. And they put him up, and Candace Owens beat him hands down, made him look embarrassing. He couldn't even say a single... Imagine this. Candace, see, this is Charlie Kirk. It's Turning Point USA. She asked him, have you read the charges? Oh, yeah, I know. So there's 7 charges. What are they? He couldn't give one. He couldn't give a single charge. Oh, it's murder. No. It's aggravated. And Candace Owens reels off all the charges, made him look a fool. He was sent in there to be a fool. He was paid handsomely to walk in there and be a fool. They set up the whole show, hence the thumbnail, and admitted the goy in the UFC World Wrestling Federation bullshit show. We already know Charlie Kirk was murdered. We already know a 30-06. Listen, unlike most Australians, I've actually used quite a few firearms, including handguns, all the way from 22s, 222s, 223s, and 308s on farms. Killing foxes, killing bunny rabbits, killing parrots, and killing great big 6-foot big kangaroos, not cute ones, the ones that can rip your guts open of your dog, all right? We all know what they can do. 150 yards, it is still net. There's nothing to say it was a soft-tip bullet. Nothing. Nothing. All the bullets they found with the I love transgenders on them were all normal, full copper-jacketed bullets. And if you don't know firearms at all, you don't have to be a ballistic expert. You know what a 308 does, let alone a 30-06, which has more charge and the round is even bigger and heavier. The newton, the pounds of force that are entering his neck is just going to go donk straight out the other side and take a big chunk of his flesh, like Martin Luther King was killed by the same round. Went in through his chin and blew out his neck. It blew his neck out. But they're going to tell you that crap. You don't need Candace Owens to tell you that Charlie Kirk was clearly not murdered by that guy, if at all, if he's just another patsy. He even looks that weak, weird Lee Harvey Oswald look about him. They're even recreating the magic bullet because they love to play games with the gory. Give them, it's like a bone to the dog, and they let it gnaw on the bone, and they're all single mums from TikTok who are solving crimes. This is Cambridge Analytica psychological warfare. And you have to understand that she's a psychopath. Candace Owens she will lie to your face. She knows exactly what she's doing with the gay boyfriend and all the poses she does. She says, I am a Mason of Turning Point USA. And so was Charlie Kirk. Not just a Mason, Scottish Rite Mason. That's why they're all visiting there in London. That's that great image of her standing with the gay boyfriend in that red setting with the colours, and she's the checkerboard. She's the black and white checkerboard of masonry. And you try to get that through people's skulls, but they want to believe because they're children. They want to return to the Garden of Eden. I shall be saved. There's an angel with a fiery sword. You cannot go back. You must move forward to the heavenly Jerusalem, which is to be an adult in your community. Trillionaire bankers don't leave anything to chance. Trillionaire bankers are panicking because the goy have woken up. Not only have they woken up, a large segment of very special goy in the intelligence community and the military have contacted us from the US State Department, Fulbright scholars, Green Berets, Army Rangers. I'm getting contacted by General Milley's JAG. I've got Fred Smith of FedEx, Joseph Davies hanging out. Here I'm at my uncle's house. Private photos of Fred Smith. Do you think Fred Smith didn't give him permission and tell him to send that image to me? He's hanging with Josh Brolin at the premiere with his cousin Molly Smith, who runs all Con Productions, that made Sicario 1 and 2, La La Land, one of my favourites, Blade Runner 2049. They're all nice people. You think he just took that random photo? That is an invite into the company. That is an invite into the family as he dines with George W. Bush. Maybe I can be his new Jeff Gannon. It's an invite in. And at the same time, Trump is pulling up Lockheed. That's never happened before. Pulled up Marilyn Houston. Marilyn Houston has never been pulled up in her life. She does whatever she wants. Her and her Israeli friends at Lockheed. Trump administration pulled them up. You got to give credit where credit is due. And understand, it's complicated. And we've got to sort through the shit. And we've just got to get to the point where I just can't stand it anymore. Trump, the enriching himself, the free plane from Qatar, and the taxpayers refurbished it in his taste for $200 million. And he's just going to take that. Well, I don't own it. It's the presidential library. I just use it every day. I mean, it's disgusting. His kids are making out like bandits. The insider trading. Is anyone going to pull him up and say, Mr. President, people are finding it really hard to live. You do not look good. I have become convinced that they are just not that stupid. I've become convinced that Susie Wiles, Heritage Foundation are just trying to make him look so bad that eventually they can get rid of him. Like maybe get rid of him. Because I just can't believe they're not noticing this is really backfiring. Unless they have a big crescendo from the directors, wag the dog, whereby the victory comes, and this is entirely possible. I told you they're in total control of the strait. Ships are going through all the time. All the time. The US is running the Straits of Hormuz. Okay? Running. That's why Tucker Carlson is spitting and spewing and Candace OWENS. Because they're on friendly territory down there in Tennessee and up there in Virginia. Because the networks are so vast. Because if you ask myself, well, Brendan, if it's true, why aren't they dead? Why aren't they scared? Why aren't they sitting in London? Because I hate to tell you, as I repeat for you, they're in friendly territory, or at least they're in contested territory. They're in the grey zone. I keep telling you, the enemies of the United States are deep within the State Department. They're deep inside USAID. They're deep inside the intelligence community, the CIA. Look at Tulsi Gabbard, the young global leader. What was she even doing there? Joe Kent's new wife is a hardcore leftist hanging out with the grey zone with Blumenthal, for crying out loud. What's he doing? And he's screaming for his master. Withdraw, withdraw, withdraw. It's a brilliant operation. And I think you've got to give some credit to the Americans, to the dog. Pat the dog on the head when it's good, because they have killed so few people. It's a miracle. They have done targeted attacks on buildings. They've left the infrastructure alone. And Iranians right now still have power because the US has not switched it all off, and they don't need bombs to do it. They completely control their power grids, their communication systems, everything. Everything. So could you give some credit that they actually run in there and done another Paul Bremer a la Iraq? The Arabs always get slaughtered, but not those precious Persians. They're always doing real well, considering. So let's get off the ridiculous nature that Donald Trump and the Trump administration isn't running the straits. They run the straits from top to bottom. Top to bottom. Believe nothing. And I can only presume one of two things. They're trying to sully Trump, saying, yeah, be greedy, take all that stuff. Then they're leaking all sorts of stuff about his family and him so that they can drive down his popularity and they can kill him. I can't see him ever getting killed, but I could definitely see a Ronald Reagan up close into the liver, and then he can bow out with his billions and they just get rid of him. Then Marco Rubio or J.D. Vance will take over. I mean, what does it matter? It's all the same. But there won't be Chabad Lubavitch. You've got to get Chabad Lubavitch out. I don't care how many errands they're running as indispensable Jews, backwards and forwards. I don't care. I want them out. Get rid of this filth. They're absolute filth. And where's the enemies of Trump? I keep saying. They're out to get Trump. They're foaming at the mouth. They'll do anything. They'll kill him. They'll shoot him. But you can't tell me about Chabad Lubavitch, a bunch of racist, supremacist, raving lunatics that make a national socialist, in terms of Adolf Hitler, look good, look tame. And you say to people, do you realize how sick these people are, these Hasidim, these ultra-Orthodox? Why aren't you going after him? And there happens to be Baruch Lazar, rabbi, head of Chabad. He's the head of the Jews in Russia, best friends with Putin. And he's over there in Oxford hanging out with Nathaniel Rothschild. And they're all running diamonds and drugs, and Trump's former relationship with Lev Leviath. Drug money laundering, that's who Andrew Tate works for. Literally. I mean, Andrew Tate's lawyer, McLeod, I have to give it to him, not McLeod, McBride. I have to give him credit. He's a half-wit, but he is really leaning into his role as Andrew Tate's warrior protector. I mean, he's getting well paid. He knows Tate's finished. They're going to jail for the rest of their lives. But that's the low-end rat. I want the high-end rats from Wall Street. I want Tate to go down. He's another sacrificial lamb. See, if you want to join the Illuminati, if you want to join that clown and become famous, and these desperate psychopaths who want to be famous, they'll tear you down when they're good and ready, and that goes for Candace OWENS and Tucker Carlson as well. Let's quickly go there. Hello from UK, Brendan. G'day, mate. We've got Queen Sheba. We've got Truth Social Grammar. People are birds. What you're telling your... What's this? Why? Oh, what's going on? What happened? Why is it down there? See, I wanted that comment. Now where's the comment gone? Okay, wait. You're telling me Tucker is still taking puberty blockers? The horror. You have to wonder. Sup, my peeps. The debate was nonsense. Oh, no, I mean, I found it interesting. It was 3 hours. I could watch it. You couldn't because you probably work for a living. And you're all sneaking into the toilets or something. I don't know where you all work. Yeah, I mean, it was just another Turning Point USA joke debate. Look at him. Just have a look at him right now. Have a look at him. Have a look at that Christian manhood there. His new wife, it's her third marriage and she's got kids to different men. Now, that's okay, but I'm just saying you're a Christian man and you seem to be with a two-bit whore. Yeah, I'm sorry. You've seen the way he speaks about women? Calls them whores and everything, but you're married to one. Sorry, if you're going to wear Jesus on your lips and make all these grand statements, you might want to live up to it. But he doesn't care. I mean, he's literally an alcoholic, chain-smoking coke addict. That's what he is. And Turning Point, and he's insulted Erica Kirk. And now suddenly he's been sent in. It's great theatre. And if you want to be one of their puppets, knock yourselves out. But when they get ready to sacrifice you, they will sacrifice you like they did Charlie Kirk. I intimated that the more Skull and Bones Bannon Corps will kill Charlie Kirk because they've created all this anti-Israel animosity. I said, there's no way BB organised this. Because it's just, you would know it's going to be a disaster. But what about if you're the City of London networks and BB's just your dog, so he can just shut up and do as he's told, just like Xi Jinping, just like Vladimir Putin? You got Peter Wright telling us in his book in 1986, which I remember when it came out, and Thatcher tried to subvert it, Spycatcher, where he said half the British establishment was Soviet assets, including Lord Jacob Rothschild's daddy, Victor Rothschild. Can you see this network, this history past his prologue? And that's MI6, MI5 doing their job. And they have been. They've been complaining for 20 years about this complete infiltration of British via the London central bankers into the university systems. Their people are now, their kids now have perfect English accents, and they're all working for MI5, MI6. And they've all gone to the City of London Boys School. That's what it's called, City of London Boys School. So you begin to understand the penetration. It just so happens that Tucker Carlson and Candace OWENS are directly linked with that network. And I mean direct. They just go, boo the Jews, but they can't tell me who did 9/11. Because then you're dobbing in your boss. Xi Jinping won't tell us. Vladimir Putin should be telling us. What about Iran? When I'm sitting in Iran talking to government analyst Mr. Parsipor with the gay lawyer from Atlanta, Georgia, Hamayun T. Lashkari, David Lashkari, and we're talking about Chris Boleyn. Oh, yeah, Israel did 9/11. We all know. Yeah, I've read Chris Boleyn, not his book, but I know his website. Okay. So you all know Israel did 9/11. Let's have this conference. Let's get it done. Because I'm thinking Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, who would do a conference. But I didn't know Iranian politics. They're all whores for City of London and Chatham House. That's why they're always there. How many times have you heard me repeat about Rouhani training for 6 years, backwards and forwards to Scotland? How many times? Since 2017. Have you ever heard anyone else mention this in relation to Iran and his best friends with Jack Straw and Lord Levi and Tony Blair, one step away from Lord Jacob Rothschild? Tony Blair's hanging out with Ovadia Yosef, the head Sephardic rabbi. They're all linked in with Jews, including Tate. Oh, bad, Israel's bad, Jews bad. It's just funny because you seem to hang around with a lot of them, especially Chabad Lubavitch. McBride trained at a yeshiva college for law. McBride of the clan, McBride. And you see, Tate's it's laughable. It's laughable. But there's your sacrificial lamb, everyone. And now we're not asking the question, which was, how did the media go along with Andrew Tate? Why didn't someone just mention, hey, you do realise he's friends with the Gaylord farmer and he's hanging out with the elite of the Eton and Cambridge and Oxford and the City of London? Does it not strike people as a little strange? Have you ever heard of the media when the overwhelming, we can go to the Common Sense Skeptic, one channel, there's dozens, where they've been talking about this for 4 years. All his comments are screen recorded off his pimping hose degree stuff. This is not new. Where was the mainstream media? Suddenly they're out to get him. They facilitated his rise for over 4 years, the last 5 years especially. They facilitated it. They coddled, they protected, just like they do the same with Elon Musk. It's the same people, the same network. There's Ari Ram Emanuel. Boom. Same network every time. And that's Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. Ugh. I took B1 benfotiamine again, and it's itching. That stuff, man, it sits in your system for a long time, but it's good. But yeah. Tate's rise in media was so inorganic, obviously. They both pushed, and I felt stupid actually paying attention to it. Why does everything interesting happens in November? True, very true. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fine too. Just remember, by the way, I've got a video coming on AI. I woke this morning. I've been guzzling ascorbic acid. It's killing the bacteria. I'm just feeling better and better. I'm not hungry. I was craving carbs, man, like craving carbs. They're like demons. I had a dream that the gut bacteria, I pulled out a demon out of my gut. They're like freaking entities. They're in my brain. Carbs. Go for carbs, Brendan. What about some delicious healthy prunes? You need sugar, carbs. When you like some delicious milk products which make you feel sick and horrible, come on, Brendan. I think they're in my brain. And the more I have that disgusting ascorbic acid, vitamin C, oh, it's horrible. Fuck. If you've ever vomited in your own mouth or you've been sick, that acid taste, it's identical. And I gag. But I sculled 2 glasses, about 10 grams at once. Didn't feel well for about 15 minutes and then got up and I'm thinking, I don't feel hungry. Those little demons. It's one thing to read about this and watch it on YouTube. Sorry to change subjects. We'll get back to it. But I'm like in this, my God, when you actually experience the changes, and all I had to do from 6 years ago was take ascorbic acid, kill off the bacteria in my small intestine, which should be sterile, kill off that bacteria first, get my zinc carnosine, my colostrum, heal my gut, completely drop carbs. I have a little bit of pasta mixed in with cabbage, boiled vegetables, so it's easy to digest, and I need easily digestible food, even white rice, just a small amount mixed in with cabbage and stuff, and I'm good. But I always, when I feel better, what do? I go back to my old diet, which isn't bad, but I just can't touch carbs. I go eating tortillas and carbs and that's the enemy. And now I finally realize it's quite frustrating because I lost 6 years, 5 years, 5 or 6 years. Heal your gut, please. Kill off. Everyone has got small intestine bacterial overgrowth to some degree. If you are reaching for coffee all the time, if you are feeling fatigued, if you eat and feel tired, that's a problem. It's not normal. It is not normal to eat and feel tired. I thought it was. You're a lion, you eat the gazelle, you sleep under a tree. No, it's not. Because when you start feeling well, you can eat and be full. And lo and behold, you don't feel tired. In fact, you don't want to run 10 miles, but you're not feeling tired. Your brain's clean. And you go, my God, so this is what it's like to be normal. Man, we've got to do something about it because it's also affecting politics, gut health and politics. I want to do a video on it. Gut health and politics. Because when your mind is clear and you're feeling good, you're not anxious, you're not filling your head with shit, you have some defenses and you've got the energy to defend yourself psychologically and move politically, as is Mary Silver. So gut health, Maha, what a shame, these great things they start which never seem to go anywhere. Fauci's never going to jail. It's not because he couldn't, but because it's always spectacle. Because when you're in the club, you're in the club and you get protected. And he'll be shuffled off. They'll move us on to the next crisis. The blockade of Taiwan is absolutely on, if not this year, certainly next year. You should always be careful but I have to triple down on it. Nothing else explains what's going on in the silicon wafer world. They're tripling production. Tripling. There's no AI bubble. I was so pleased at the very start of all this talk. I says it's horseshit. This is a military program. This is the Manhattan Project. It's like saying there's no money in nuclear weapons. You should stop making it. No, it's about power. Has it been implemented badly? Yes. Putting that stuff next to houses? Come on. It's like a freaking jet engine in the background. But wherever it's been badly implemented, it's here to stay. It's not bad, but it can be bad if it's not handled properly. That means you need an engaged citizenry, which means you need good gut health. So you'll be motivated and have the energy to move forward and have the oxytocin, and you're taking your L-Ruta yogurt and you're happy to meet people and you're not hiding out in your closet selling coffee mugs, which reminds me, be on special soon. Did you like that Trump ad? Oh, that was quite funny. Turned out really well. But there they are. AI ain't going away. And when all those people say, it's down, it's going to collapse, you know, ChatGPT, OpenAI, it's not going anywhere. Do you know they've just signed a deal with this hardcore new company, Cerebrus? This is my little interest on the side. I just watched a doco on it. They've got these massive wafers all interconnected. It's got an exclusive deal with OpenAI. It's not going away. So you just remember all those people, they're parrots. They know nothing. They are parrots. They simply watch what's trending. Oh, that's trending. That's negative. Nobody likes it. Maybe if you did a more positive spin because you wanted to be honest, you saw the views plummet, you went, oh, I better learn that going after AI is where my money is. And so that's why you see a group of gigantic parrots with the Chinese Communist Party in the City of London, very happy to see it happen, just parroting the same old shit. And there's little old me making F-all. I make $3,200 a month in my hand after tax compared to these people, a comfortable living in Mexico, middle-class living. I would have liked a bit more if you forgive me, but, you know, it's been a bit of a ride. But while they're making freaking 60, 100 grand a week, these people, you would not believe how much money Whitney Webb made. The rich kid, the rich sport brat. Anyway, the point is, it's not going away. But if you want to watch your views go down, defend the Trump administration while criticizing Trump, views go down. You've either got to have your tongue up Trump's ass or you've got to demand his death. View go up. But if you want to do a rational discussion, have an adult discussion, the good, the bad, and the ugly, forget it. That's not where the money is. And we're going to watch a little video about Nigel OAKS, Eton, all from Eton. They're all from the same circles as good old Lord Farmer and his son. And you'll begin to understand the manipulation and who and what Candace OWENS and Tucker Carlson really are with their private planes, and who Andrew Tate is. And just a word of advice. You know, I said 2 weeks, was it 6 weeks before Charlie Kirk, you're going to start getting it in the neck. Be very careful. Because if you're flying high on the money, if you've joined the team, things may not go well for you. I think Candace OWENS is going to be on a plane to London and she'll be claiming my kids have been threatened. They're after me. Now, you had to leave for your own safety because you're a lying little whore and they've all worked you out. They've all worked. Now you're getting really uncomfortable with the gay boyfriend. Again, if Turning Point wanted to destroy Candace OWENS, they'd just say straight out, he's clearly a homosexual from the clubs. He's been outed 100 times. He tried to pash on with Kasim, what's his face from Breitbart, Bannon's crew, and that Bannon was told by Mercer that he's not getting any more money if he kept doing this populist stuff. See, they're internationalists. They went in on a populist front, then they were meant to change. Didn't happen. And Bannon told her to get F, so he fell out with Rebekah MERCER. He went after Jared Kushner and Ivanka and told her to go F herself. And then he's fighting with Gary Cohn, and then Kissinger comes out, says it's a war between the Jews and the non-Jews, and there's Bannon taking on Kissinger. He's taken on the Special Executive Service. He didn't just mention the City of London and Rothschild. He went on for years doing some of the best interviews. You know, the Soviet Union's a rising power, America's a declining power. And he says, bullshit, it's a lie. That's Bannon, and he upsets me too, don't worry. The point is, do you understand who the enemy is? Tucker Carlson better watch himself. Better watch himself. All of them. Oh, they're out to get the perfidious Jew. Yeah, right. I'd say trillionaire bankers have a few things covered. Let's now move on to, we'll look at a few questions, and then we're going to move on to the man behind Cambridge Analytica. It is, I believe, about 13 minutes long, and I think it's worth going through the whole lot, and I will stop it along the way. This is old, this is 8 years old, and we'll understand how they went in on the populist edge, but that was to form the multipolar world order. Then they move into the internationalist Trotskyite. There's Kissinger the whole time. Kissinger was behind that, Kissinger and Associates, the old Sullivan and Cromwell crew, Out of Georgetown, all the internationalist Trotskyites in the State Department, all the professors at George Washington University, all whores City of London paid and bought for. The George Soroses, the Foundation, the George Kaisers in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the Family Foundation. We care about the children. While they're all happily bragging, we're bringing Unit 8200 into the University of Tulsa. They're in all the infrastructure. No one will say Rad Group. Jaleel laughed. He said, we bet she never says Rad Group. Nah, she has to, I said. Zohar Zissapol. This is 2019, 2020. Good old, the greatest journalist of all time, Whitney Webb. She's never uttered the word. Now, do you understand why? All the theories about 9/11, 747s compared to the drones, exact rappers with ghost passengers and crews seems to make the most sense. Yeah, it's all possible. We've seen that. They can build any narrative they want. And it took me a while. It took me 2 years to accept the Pentagon because I just thought, well, it must be real. I mean, how else could they have done it? And then, you understand when you speak to pilots like Flight Captain Dan Hanley, it is impossible. They were doing over 450 knots, 480 knots, 60 feet above the ground. He said, Brendan, you don't understand. You can't do it in the aircraft. They're not built for that. They're built for 580 knots at 32,000, 38,000 feet. They can't do it. It is physically impossible, let alone for a guy who can't fly a Cessna to do it. It is impossible. End of story. So they've done up some aircraft. Remember, it's moving at 480 knots, painted at the right colors, and people want to believe the psychology of witnesses. But however they did it, Israel's all through the whole thing, including the fact that they can alter the aircraft. They specialize in altering aircraft. Not just that, because they deal drugs. So they're altering fuel tanks, hidden compartments in ships, not just aircraft, ships. Then you look at ICTS Security, who is running, the local security at Logan Airport, all the ports of Rotterdam. Guess who owns all that? Rothschild. Rothschild, started by the Shin Bet with Rothschild funding. City of London, again. They're dealing drugs, along the drug money laundering, as Kay Griggs says. Brandon, it's all drugs, drug money laundering, secondary weapon sales, and of course, sex trafficking. It's the whole formula of these English gentlemen behind us who prop up their little whores and low ends so they don't have to get their hands dirty. That's what Andrew Tate is. Disgusting animal, Andrew Tate. Hello from UK, Brendan. Hi, Gene. Uncle Charlie, wait, you're telling me? Yeah, okay, we're down here. I'll try and go through this. That debate was nonsense. Yes, Tate rising. I got it. They both pushed and I felt stupid actually paying attention to it. Why does everything interesting happen in November? If all of the theories about 9/11, yes. Yes, it worked. Thank you. You're talking about my little Elgato Stream Deck. Oh, we got to have the classic.
Look at these hands. These are workers' hands.
These are workers' hands. That's a great movie. So it's actually not a good movie. It's got some great actors. Sunshine. It's about 4 generations of Jewzzz with Ray Fiennes playing the lead role through multiple generations. But it shows you all about Jewzzz changing their name, weirdness. Some good stuff in there too about Jews trying to fit in and finding it almost difficult to fit in because then they're told you're always a Jew and they're just trying to live a normal life. So it's a very good movie, Sunshine. Definitely worth watching. I think they don't care because they think crypto is the new money. Most people don't know what real money is. Well, it's not gold. Real money is food, clean water, 40,000 gallons of diesel, 40,000 gallons of petrol, 1 electric car, a diesel 4-wheel drive, and a normal vehicle, and land, and a community. That's wealth. I can't eat gold. Gold is the most worthless garbage I've ever seen in my life, as if gold is representative of an economy. It's absurd. You can't have a gold standard. But in the future, in a positive future, you have so much data flowing in, you can relieve just enough real money and credit and zeros and ones to represent the value of an economy. That's going to have to be centralized in the United States from where that will flow. That's in the positive future. But of course, we know where they want to take it, but only if you let them. That's why I keep telling you. Mary Silver's embarrassing everyone, and you've got to believe we're special. You have to believe it because the Hollywood bullshit's filled your head. You refuse to believe also because you're lazy. You just can't believe you could run. You don't even have to run for office. Go to a Republican meeting and just sit there. Don't do anything. Don't say anything. Just watch. Who's who in the zoo? Get to know people while you're here. Oh, I'm worried about the leftists. I'm worried about the commies. I'm worried about Mandami. Blah, blah, blah. And just, oh my goodness. And just listen Take some flyers and just listen and see who's open to this information. And you just say, oh, I love Israel so much. Did you know they have all these pretend Russian Jews infiltrating, filthy commies infiltrating the Holy Land? And they go, what? Yeah, look at this. Spies who should be killed. And just have them ready to go. Have an assortment in your pocket to suit your audience. You see, this is not hard. You can change the world just by doing that because you're going to bypass this horrible, disgusting filter called the internet. Okay. Congrats on being correct on pretty much everything. I think it was you. I first said about Putin was Lubavitch. Correct on everything. Large scale, definitely correct. 100% correct. But tactical timings, difficult. But you have to understand that doesn't make me a genius. What it tells you is how bad. I'm not being falsely modest here. A lot of you weren't around when the internet was real. And man, there were like New York newspaper journalists. I know George Negus was on our forum. He was a famous Australian reporter. You have people from the intelligence community serving retired, people from the military, and they've all got non-de-plumes and they're just talking. And it's quality. The quality. If you're a half-wit, you weren't going to last 5 minutes. You're just not going to last. We'd pull apart Jewzzz and Jewzzz would laugh because it was so funny and so witty. And there was, even amongst Jewzzz, there was sort of this camaraderie that we're on this journey. I know it sounds weird and flunky, but there was something in it. I mean, when Reuben got sick and got cancer, one of the heads of the JDL, the Jewish Defence League, everyone wished him well. They said, well, we hope you recover, but you're still a prick. You understand? It was very different. People were after the truth. They didn't have the political agenda per se. Yeah, they were the white nationalist half-wits there. They were the Jewish provocateurs there. But people were looking for the truth. They weren't looking for, please subscribe, buy my coffee mugs. It wasn't about the money. There was no money in it. So only the most passionate who said, wow, many of you are so used to having this in your bedrooms and on your phones. We never had this. This was this incredible tool. I could reach millions of people. I mean, even when I came back from Iran, I had 170,000 subscribers on YouTube. Within 1 week, they reduced it to 14,000. It's all freaking fake, the whole freaking thing. It's all bought. People are buying views, buying subscribers. It's totally fake. Multi-million-dollar budgets. It's in the freaking news. And wait till you work out how the chatbots are literally 70% of the comments are chatbots. Wait till you work that one out. And you're going to understand how fake it is. And an awful lot of people don't even care. They just want money. You become addicted to your cheap Chinese light and the ability to sit in front of a computer screen and wank on and make money. And for a lot of these unemployed actors, crisis actors, flunkies, sociopaths, scammers, this is heaven. This is heaven for them. You understand? What if you're making 30 grand a week? Could you imagine making that? A lot of these people are making serious money and they're getting drug money Bitcoin sent to them. You just don't understand the amount of money in this. You just don't get it. I could be on 10 grand a month, easy, playing the game. I either go after Trump or I'd be nice and do a Promethean action and put my tongue up his ass and say he's a genius. I'm not doing it. And I'm also not just going to attack him for the sake of it. The Trump administration has been doing some very incredibly important geopolitical things. And at the same time, this orange clown, disgusting, pus-ridden filth with his weird sexual innuendo about his daughter, it's just pus. It's pus. If they just got rid of Chabad, Kushner, Ivanka, the outright corruption, the insider trading, I'd just deal with it. Go, okay, you've earned your place in history. You're 1 in a million, Trump. You're a half-wit, but man, you are the best madman, disruptor, bull in the china shop that was ever invented, made for this time. I agree with Bannon on that. You need it. Only Trump could do this. But we're just at a point now where, at what point do we say that's enough now? No. This is, you don't get carte blanche. Just do whatever you like. You no bid contract with your half-witted idiot for the poor. And then you're arresting people claiming they were ruining the poor. It's madness. And they just keep getting worse. And we're supposed to keep, it's an impossible situation to be in as a commentator, a sincere one. People have memories. They'll remember. 9/11, what's the 21st century introduction of directed? No, it wasn't directed energy weapons. Go away. Candace is just, no, she's not a distraction. Well, yes, she's a distraction, but it's very important to talk about this, and we'll get onto that. Yeah. The Jewzz's DNA. All right, we've got to watch Cambridge Analytica. Now I will intervene. Now, this is old, business casual, 1.15 million subscribers, 275,000 views 8 years ago, 13 minutes. One of the interesting things to come out of the whole thing was, you've got to understand, NIX is an internationalist Trotskyite, along with everyone involved here. They're all Scottish Rite Masons. They're all heavily involved with the Jewish Board of Deputies. They're heavily involved with Chabad Lubavitch. Remember Peter Wright. I think we need to listen to it again, just for those of you who haven't heard. Peter Wright wrote Spycatcher. He was the 2IC at MI5 counterintelligence. And he said, we were investigating all these upper crust, Lord Farmer. It's the key to understanding Candace Tucker and the upper crust of the British establishment. The absolute upper crust. That half of them were working for Soviet intelligence. And you're saying, what? Victor Rothschild, that's Lord Rothschild's daddy, was a Soviet asset, part of the Cambridge Five. Now, Peter Wright, let me go over here. Where's the search bar? Right. Just listen. Many of you have heard it. We've got to listen again. Spycatcher, your Venona files, yeah, riddled with spies. Listen to this.
With her blunt statement, Mrs. Thatcher, or those who briefed her, pointedly referred to only a few others. In fact, MI5 files listed 35 eminent persons as Soviet agents. These people worked in
Eminent persons. Oh, like Lord Farmer, like Andrew Nix.
the highest levels of British government, industry,
British government, industry, academia. Sound familiar, America?
academia, and so on.
Alt media stars. Sound familiar? Do you see the pattern? Do you see how past is prologue?
Many were interviewed by me, and a number of them either committed suicide or died mysteriously shortly after they became aware of my
Like that.
interest in them. In other words, there was good reason to suspect that the establishment was rotten to the core with Russian agents.
Rotten to the core. Who does Tucker love? Putin. Who does Candace love? Putin. Who does George Foreman love? Putin. Who does Lord Farmer love? Putin. Putin, Gerhard Schroeder, the board of Rothschild, best friends with Klaus Schwab, and he's the anti-globalist. I mean, it's absurd. Keeps going. Money. A lot of it's money. People are very invested in Putin as the savior. And you know what? If you're in America and you love Putin and you love Hitler, and the first thing they will do is get rid of the Constitution, you need to be deported. I want an end to birthright of all kinds. I don't think it's a privilege to have US citizenship as long as the US is actually sticking to its Constitution and Bill of Rights and Declaration of Independence. And it should be a privilege. And if you don't represent those values, you need to leave. You can be forced to leave or you can leave on your own, but get out. So if you love Adolf Hitler and think he's going to save you, when the first thing Hitler would do is consider you too individualistic, and he's going to lock you all up, and he's going to burn the Constitution to the ground, and you're all like these dumb whores who say, oh, free speech, why can't I be free speech? What, you mean free speech like Adolf Hitler would give you? Like Vladimir Putin? See the absurdity of it all? Absolute absurdity. So when you hear him talk about they're all Russian agents, what do they all got in common? They all seem to love. Look at Thomas Massie voting against sanctions on China. He's voted against sanctions on China, sanctions on Russia, sanctions on Iran. That's Thomas Massie, your hero. He's after the perfidious Jew. AIPAC bad. Crackers wild. Oh wow, Thomas Massie. Do you understand who James Traficante is? The guy that got run over by his own tractor, who was the first to absolutely destroy AIPAC? Do you remember Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney in 2002? Risk your life. She went after AIPAC. She was the first to say they all have to sign. They all have to sign on the dotted line. Never heard of her. Candace OWENS did an interview with her 3 years ago. Where's the interview? Gone. Gone. Disappeared. Peter Wright, Spycatcher. Understand that book? You'll understand everything. Putin, can't you get it? Lord Farmer, Putin. Andrew Tate, Putin. It's not that they're agents of Russia, they're agents of the City of London.
I know this because of my investigations.
Listen again.
There was good reason to suspect that the establishment was rotten to the core with Russian agents. I know this because of my investigations into the rings of influence spreading out from the Ring of Five. I was stopped in this because my investigations were embarrassing.
And I suffer the same fate. You see in Australia now, they're openly talking about battle management systems backdoored. That's why I had Special Forces Commander James McMahon, Minister Joe Francis, Royal Australian Navy, inviting me out. They're best friends with who? Tony Abbott, the former Jesuit Prime Minister of Australia. And he's best friends with the Windsors, the royal family, and Kissinger. And yet I was being invited out by those people. They didn't know. Justice MASSIE, a really good judge. And in the newspaper, he wrote an article just before I got out of jail in 2014, early January 2014. Jesuits no longer dance to tune of former masters. Quote, I cut that newspaper article out. Graham, a friend, cut it out as well. And it was the only thing missing out of my property, that article. Graham said, don't worry about it. I've got a copy. Went down to his basement on his farm. He said, it's gone. I was getting invites to the local Scottish Rite Masons, you name it. But no one tried to kill me, just the bikies. The Finks, like the Finks bar, I'd like to look at their background.
Wright's secret testimony was not limited to generalized complaints about the failure to tackle Soviet penetration at all levels of
Sound
British
familiar?
society and government. He also submitted a separate and even more closely guarded annex revealing the identities of the 35 eminent
Lord Farmer, Lord Jacob Rothschild, because his daddy was on the list.
persons who were suspected of being agents for Moscow, and giving a telling insight into the sorry history of further proven cases of treachery. In my dossier, I list all of the spies discovered between 1927 and 1982, which were publicly revealed. There have been 15 spies overtly discovered and prosecuted. 13 of those 15 were in departments of British intelligence. The rest of his redacted evidence was,
You know, the ones running backwards and forwards to Dubai, Qatar, making sure Hamas are fully funded, making sure Hezbollah are fully funded, the Islamic terror network, justifying all the taking of all our liberties, all the airport scannings, all the feel-ups of your balls, your ball sack and your vagina, and grabbing you by the tits to check you out because you won't go through the thing. Do you remember all that? That's all the Islamic terror. That's all British intelligence. But it's not all of them. A lot of them are fought back. Just like the CIA analysts fight back, just like DIA, just like the FBI counterintelligence fought back. Instead, they took all our funding from FBI counterintelligence, and then they ran riot post 9/11, and then we're all transferred to counterterrorism. You see how it works.
equally startling,
No one else has told you this. Not a freaking soul. Not a soul. Has anyone told you about Peter Wright and Spycatcher? Seriously. And put it all together? Justifying, oh, that's Candace OWENS. Rebekah MERCER, Cambridge Analytica, SCL Group, British military, Scottish Rite Masonries, NATO, psych warfare, NATO hit teams. Kay Grigg said NATO, they have a whole hit teams and they take people out. Oh, it's like Charlie Kirk. And now every American's fighting and they're demanding a pullback from the Middle East and out of Europe. Oh, there you go. The dream of the Eurofags and the City of London. Get the US out of Eurasia for the multipolar world order. It'll catch on eventually. And then the experts with millions of dollars will suddenly, oh my God, I've got a new theory. And it's like 8 years later, we're all talking about it 8 years before. And they'll come out and make another $1 million while we eke out our little existence. Because that's the political dissonance. They can let us talk because few people are seeing this. Very few.
Victor Rothschild had continued to work for MI5 and MI6 long after his notional retirement from intelligence work, and had run an agent in the heart of the Shah of Iran's administration on behalf of SIS until
Victor Rothschild running an asset in the Shah's administration in Iran. And there's, President Rouhani. You'd have to say that's pretty important information. You know where I got it? I feel ashamed to say it. It's not David Icke. I got some interesting stuff just happened to get some stuff from him. And you hate admitting where you got it from. Bob Foote. Good old, what's his, I forgot that's his real name. What is his name? Gordon Duff. I got out of jail. I got back from Iran, and lo and behold, Kevin Barrett's trying to talk to me to joining. I said, I can't join Kevin Duff. It's just Gordon Duff, because he's just ridiculous. I'm sorry. I'm not doing it. He lies so much, it makes him look a fool. It discredits everything. And he said, look, Gordon's a lot higher than you think, Brennan. And he told me stories, people, that Gordon just walks through security at airports like it's nothing. He's very, very high level. Gordon Duff. And lo and behold, he had that information on President Rouhani, 6 years back and forth to Scotland with Lord Levi and Jack Straw, which is friends with Tony Blair, Ovadia Yosef, Jewish Board of Deputies, Lord Farmer. That's the network. And I said, well, we got to push this night and day. Have you ever seen that repeated anywhere? All the Iran flunkies? Gee, there's Zarif. I'm staying with friends of the family of Zarif. Don't want to talk about 9/11. They all know about 9/11. What has Iran got to lose? What leverage? Talk about 9/11. Nothing. That's why they keep Mahmoud Ahmadinejad out at all costs, because he's actually real. They are terrified of him. That's why Bibi comes out and says they had a plan. How did I have that secret information? You saw before the war started in February before. I said, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad is the natural leader of Iran because he's an Iranian nationalist, and that is what the Trump administration need. They need a nationalist who hates Israel and Bibi with a passion, but he's actually a nationalist and a realist because he said they're going to slaughter us. We got to stop. Let's negotiate. Let's deal. Let's get right for the people. Let's stop sending all that shit to the Houthis. They're getting slaughtered. And what did General Soleimani say? I'm sure his Swiss bank account's good. No, it's good. Let them die. It makes the Americans look bad. That's why even, what's his name, from Geopolitics and Empire, said, I thought you were a bit mad, but actually, no, you're right. He is the natural choice. And then suddenly the Israelis, oh, we had a secret. No, they never had a secret plan to put him in power. They're just trying to discredit Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. Meanwhile, the same people going on about it won't tell you that President Rouhani and Zarif are best friends with people like John Kerry, and Zarif's kids are American citizens, and Zarif's kids are at each other's weddings with John Kerry, the king of Chatham House and the Royal Institute of International Affairs, and Georgetown, and George Washington University. Could you imagine that? Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, he's the one, he's working with the Israelis when he was calling them out non-stop. Non-stop. God willing, I hope that man gets back in power. I just have this feeling he's going to eventually. And I want to head straight back to Iran. I seriously do.
Till the early 1970s, that he occupied this extremely sensitive position at the same time as the security service was investigating his links to Blunt, Philby in the Ring of Five was bad enough. But it was remarkable that, as Wright testified, during my investigation of Soviet penetration, including the investigation of Hollis, I used to brief Victor regularly and in considerable detail.
That's Victor Rothschild, Lord Jacob Rothschild's daddy, best friends with Lord Farmer, King Charles, Candace OWENS, Tucker Carlson.
Meeting with him at least once a month. This was done with the knowledge of Directors General Sir Martin Furnivall-Jones, Sir Roger Hollis, and Sir Michael Hanley.
Wow, that's gold. Anyway, just remember, past is prologue. You ever heard this repeated? Remember Candace? Rothschild. Head goes down. She mentions it. Oh, she's a hero. She got me with Kay Griggs. I thought maybe. See, even I do it. I just thought, wow, she's mentioned Kay Griggs. She's the first person to ever say a word. It was 20 minutes. And I found it with the AI. Thank God for AI. Found the part in the transcript where it was. And there it was. And it wasn't a few minutes. It wasn't a minute. It was 20 minutes. I thought, wow. So I made that video with all the best excerpts from Kay Griggs' talks and Pastor Strawcutter. And I put it out there, and I thought, maybe, who knows, Candace OWENS going to take this up. No, she's never said the word again. It's gone. It's 130 videos ago. It's 130. It's forgotten. You're barely going to find it. Without AI, you'll never find it. You see how you can mention something? And I even thought maybe the gay boyfriend, she rescued him, and she said, look, we have to get out. You have to leave Daddy. You got to come with me, and we'll mate and produce little milk chocolate babies, and we'll look good, and we'll defend America, and come, my precious little gay boy. And the cute little gay boy said, yeah. So I had this in my head that maybe something happened, and I was looking for the backstory, the back end story, if you know what I mean. And there wasn't one. Your daddy is in with Rothschild and King Charles, and he wants to kill us too. He hates Rothschild. They're always fighting. The whole family, the Royal Windsors, hate Rothschilds. They absolutely hate each other with a passion. That's why the royals are always in the Jewish-controlled press. The Jews control the damn press. Why can't King Charles keep the Windsor scandals out of the press? Why can't the Vatican keep their pedophile rings out of the press? They control everything, don't they? Now you're working on that. Now watch them take over. And what does King Charles? He wants to kill us all too. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, we'll go back on the commons, and I shall be your paternalistic boss. And you can trust me with my AI machines. I won't use them to cull you if you get out of line. Jolly good, jolly ho. And you see the absurdity of it all? There is only one future, freedom. There is only one future, the United States, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and the US Constitution. That's it. They've got $1 trillion military. Let's take it over. Take over America. Look what I've done. Screaming and yelling, screaming at Mary to pull a finger out and get moving. I'm basically Che Guevara with a cigar, and I do have some cigars. I'll pull them out and get my aviator sunglasses. I'm running the damn revolution in America from Mexico. Think about it. No, think about it. It's not that Mary does whatever I want. She does it. She's very diplomatic. I'll yell and scream. She'll go, well, I get it, but I'm not doing it. Like she'll say it like that. I'm not doing it. Because I actually said, punch him in the face. Throw water at her. If you don't want to get arrested, throw water on him. You know what I mean? She does her own thing. And that's fine, because she's a diplomat. I just want to punch them in the face, kick their doors in, round them up and just execute every last one of them, along with a few friends. We just want to do them all in. But what she needs is muscle behind her. And I wish it was front and center instead of all hidden behind the scenes with everyone giving thumbs up, serious people giving thumbs up. That's why no one will move on her, because they don't know who's watching. Serious people. That's why Del Benny should watch herself. All of them should watch themselves. Because you're pissing off a lot of very interesting people because they live in fantasy worlds. Del Benny doesn't think about Army Rangers, Green Berets, Delta, Combat Applications Group, Navy SEALs. She doesn't think about those people as human beings with wives and families, and they have to live in America. And we've been talking to them for 10 years. That's why I've got Pentagon officials contacting. That's why the Heritage Foundation wanted to employ me. That's why PhD Julianne Romanelli wanted to try and get me to Tulsa, Oklahoma. And she said some very powerful people love what you say. She's talking about the Heritage Foundation. Kevin Robertson, they run Trump. These things are handled quietly. Could you be a bit nicer to Trump? Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? I'm not prone to grandiosity. I'm just telling you the facts. And there's Mary Silver, and she's based her entire thing off me. I half wrote half her speeches. Don't think she's just some silly woman doing whatever Brendan says. She does a lot of her own stuff, and she speaks and she gets better and better at it. And I want you to know she's an ordinary person. You don't hear the phone calls where she's exhausted. She's got to worry about kids. She's got mortgage to pay, husband, all the rest. She's got to worry about all of that and run a business. You don't hear that. You just think it's all magic and everyone's back helicopters pick her up and she's got people in terminals. The enemy has everything. We have nothing, but I love it. Look how far we've come just by attacking them on national security. And no one ever bothered to tell you that before. I want you to think about that. I made conscious decisions to keep going. They were trying to pull me out. I said, no, we're going to try. I'm going to kick them in the balls. I'm going to call them racist, pigs, filth, you name it. Look how it's all normal now to say. I went to jail for half as much. 3 years. 3 freaking years. You don't even know my name. Big, huge court case. Directions hearings on our Jewzzz race. We did incredible stuff. Who even knows? Who even cares? Journalist is interested. A real one, registered journalist from Europe. They might even come to Mexico and visit. They've already got some of my stuff, but I don't hold out much hope. I don't mean to be negative, but, you know. Everyone's for sale at the end. They want to get their career going. How can they compete? They have to be a very special person to resist. They turn up, they give a story. Look, Brendan's a bit over the top. He's a great guy. He's done amazing work. But look, you know, it's better for your thing, and these things are handled quietly, and they don't put a gun to their head. They just give them a story. And off they go, and I never hear from them again. That's how it works. I had head of Four Corners, Matthew Carney, their top investigative reporter, contact me. When? January 2011. Well, a week later, I was in jail for 3 years. Matthew Carney said, it's Christmas, New Year's, no, December, it's Christmas, New Year's. We resume production late January. Let me get in touch then. We're going to do a story. Why? Because my brother-in-law was Matthew Carney's brother-in-law. And he knew all about it. Well, I was in jail for 3 years and Matthew Carney got transferred internationally. So that's the way it works. Let's now watch the man behind Cambridge Analytica. I will intercede. It's 13 minutes and then we'll wind it up. I'll try and take some questions. I'll try to answer your questions. What are we, 1 hour 14? That's not too bad. Aaron, let's make it 2 hours. For all the tradies fixing ceilings and walls who listen, truck drivers. It's an interesting array of people who contact. It crosses all, old school labour union people, small business owners, medium-sized business owners, you'd be surprised, drug money launderers. I said, send more money, please. You name it, all sorts of people. And they've all got one thing in common. They're tired of two-party political bullshit. They're tired of the dialectic. A lot of them are older school Gen Xers, certainly a lot over 40, but there's some young ones too. Very impressive knowledge. And they're in their 20s. Whoa, to be 20 and know that much? Jeez. I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse. See, the aim is to know this stuff but still function. That's why I love that quote by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Because when you're functioning and you've got good gut health, you're not overwhelmed by stress and anxiety. You can think clearly, you can plan. You're not, World War III is starting. There's not going to be World War III. There's going to be no attacks on London. It's all horse shit, all right? There may be a tactical nuke, though. I said it when they first invaded Ukraine. There's only one way this ends, tactical nuke. This is the only way this will end, or the appearance of a tactical nuke. Stack 400 tons of high explosive and pretend it's a nuke and have, two French brothers, the Norday brothers, film it with the Inspire 3 drone. Just happened to be there like 9/11. But it ends in a nuke. You've got to understand, Putin has done everything he can to kill off his best military generals and kill off his youth. He killed them off. And Ukraine's gone through the same, learned to code. So the very smart people have all left. They're the docile ones. They don't want to get killed, understood. So you've killed off the poor. You've killed off the alpha males. You've killed off the patriots. And they're not going to breed now. So what you're doing is you are culling the herd and you are placating and pacifying a local population. It's great for someone because killing Slavs appears to be someone's sport for the last 100 plus years. And Vladimir Putin is no Russian nationalist. And his best generals are dead. Where's General Armageddon? What's his name? Not General Zaluzny, he's the Ukrainian, the other guy. The Russian one. He's an experienced general. And the head of the paratroopers. They're both in jail or in house arrest because they called it out with Prigozhin. You can say what you like about Prigozhin. He was fucking brave, man. He's a warrior. He's a warrior. And he was a hot dog. No, he ran huge logistics networks for food and other stuff. They always do this with people. Oh, he's just some dumb thug. No, he was actually really good at logistics and motivating his men. He was really good at it. And they were just making it some dumb thug. And they even call him Prigozhin the Jew. Who's the Jew? Whatever his background was. He was the Russian nationalist. I admire nationalists who want to look after their people, their culture. They're fine. I may disagree with you. I don't want to be like you, but I respect honesty. Putin is a little whore, golden boy, homosexual pedophile. That's what he is. Absolutely 100% what he is. And with 2 or 3 body doubles. We don't know how many. Let's now watch quickly Cambridge Analytica. And I want you to remember this. It doesn't go into it, but you'll hear Nigel OAKS. That's the Eton. These are the friends. These are all the French. Cambridge Analytica, Rebekah MERCER, Candace OWENS, Tucker Carlson, all that old stuff that Bannon dropped out with because Bannon was a nationalist. He believed, we're nationalists here. Then they said, could you stop, please, Rebekah MERCER? And he goes, what are you talking about? I ain't stopping. Because when they got Trump in, and they're going to say, well, they didn't have, no, they had everything to do with it, multiple groups of them. But Trump was being handled by Kissinger. That's why Jared Kushner was there. Do you know Jared Kushner, that Kissinger was his mentor? They even were thinking about putting Kissinger back into the State Department. It's absurd, but they were seriously thinking about it. Then it was Madison Pompeo, the old school Skull and Bones Network, the old WASPs and co., the old Catholics in Action. That's who got control of Trump. It'll all come out in the books. And I'll be right again, but I'll be on $3,200 a month. Maybe I'm lucky I'm on that. At least I can afford eggs, even if I can't eat them. Let's listen to this now. Do so. They're not going to talk about it, but it was this. They had a youth movement in the Caribbean, and there's a lot of ethnic Indians, and they wanted the ethnic Indians to win. They didn't want the dark, black, African-based Caribbeans to get in, whatever. So they did a youth movement. It was called Do So, Don't Vote. And it was telling everyone, don't vote. And they had competitions and they were doing break dancing and youth culture movement. Sound familiar? With the Nick Fuentes, all these popular movements that seem, he's banned, but he's everywhere. But he's banned, he's everywhere. And they're all affecting the youth. The Proud Boys, a gay musical, no one seemed to notice, started by a Canadian. It's just absurd how they got away with it. Do so. So what they said is don't vote. So all the youth were saying don't vote. But they knew that the Indian kids would do exactly what their parents told them. And they always vote. And they went and they dragged their kids along to vote. And they won by like 12%. It's a landslide. It's a big, big thing. And they bragged about it. And also honeypotting and sexual blackmail. Compromat. We all think it's Russia. It's City of London. It's Jewish power. It's the Hofjuden, the court Jews, mixed in with the old Habsburgs, all the inbreds of Europe. They're all inbreds, all of them. You start to understand.
Cambridge Analytica, a company that sparks controversy wherever it appears. Between the massive data leaks at Facebook and the questionable impact the company has had on the Brexit referendum and Trump's election, today you would be hard-pressed not to have heard about.
So they pushed the nationalist populist agenda. They're all internationalist Trotskyites, City of London. That's who funds all of these movements.
About Cambridge Analytica. And yet, despite all the recent media coverage of this company, one name has remained surprisingly absent from the headlines. The man who is at the heart of the infamous organization barely gets mentioned at all. Even Wikipedia's 4,000-word article on the company mentions him only once, as if he's a brief side note, barely worthy of recognition. But in reality, quite the opposite is true. Over the past 30 years, this man, Nigel OAKS, has established a global PSYOPs empire. Today, we'll learn the full story behind Cambridge Analytica, how it started, and what it's doing today. This video is brought to you by SCL. Way back in the 1970s, Nigel attended Eton.
Right, this is Nigel OAKS, very important. Scottish Rite Mason, Eton, British Army officer, okay, one of the front ends for Rothschild. Just as remember Ehud Barak when he's talking to Epstein, Epstein's a front end. George Kaiser, there's hundreds of them all through the United States and England. They're all front ends of Rothschild, that giant trust, that European Union oligarchical families, a mix of the court Jews of Europe, all mixing and interbreeding with each other, with the old Viennese banking financial families. Remember, money lending was the lowest of the professions amongst the gentlemen, the lowest. Landowners were king, but then they'd run out of money. Well, they were good Christians, so you're not allowed to borrow money. It's against the rules. But the Jews can do it for you, see? A lot of the problem with Jews, we all have personal responsibility, is the fact that they were often forced into organized crime to get by because they weren't allowed into society. And where they were often liberated, they had a big bunch of rabbis running around pretending to be Christians, throwing rocks at them, threatening to kill them so they would come back to the tribe. Running all these neo-Nazis and all the white nationalists, they're all run by the same people, all of it.
College, the boarding school that has for centuries educated.
That's where you learn to be a homosexual in England and wear your wife's lingerie.
The British elite and aristocracy. Now, Nigel himself was born into a much more modest family of British veterans, but suffice to say he made the most of his education. Within a few years of graduating, he made headlines in Britain for his romantic relationship with Lady Ellen Windsor, a member of the extended.
I remember thinking he looks a little bit like a young Trump.
Royal family. In 1985, he made headlines again, this time by gatecrashing Lady Windsor's 21st birthday party at Windsor Castle, for which he got arrested and was fined a total of £155, a rather symbolic punishment. Now, at the time, Nigel was a record producer and DJ, but just 2 years later, in 1987, he joined one of the leading advertising agencies in Britain, Saatchi & Saatchi. This agency was responsible for one of the most famous political posters of the 20th century, which ushered in the era of Margaret Thatcher and the Tories. So out of nowhere, Nigel joins this company as a senior producer. Once there, he develops a deep interest in psychology and its effect on group behavior. But his practical knowledge isn't enough, so he hires respected academics to fill in the blanks of his methodology.
Always respected academics are vital. Like the priestly caste, the academic class, you need them all.
This leads to the creation of the Behavioral Dynamics Institute, Nigel's first major company. Interestingly enough, if you try to visit their website now, you're gonna find a blank page. As far as I can tell, they took down their website on the 22nd of March 2018, but luckily there's an archived version, which tells us that the institute was responsible for at least a decent volume of research. Within 2 years of BDI's creation, Nigel felt confident enough to use it for commercial purposes. In 1992, he created Marketing Aromatics, a company whose mission was to influence behavior through smell. Now, Nigel's clients at the time were other companies just looking for a way to boost their sales, and suffice to say the business wasn't exceptionally profitable. Marketing Aromatics would exist for less than 4 years, because Nigel quickly realized that it was governments who would be his ideal
It's nice that they placed the Israeli flag center, front and center.
client. Thus, Nigel shifted gears and began targeting elections in less developed countries, starting in 1993 with his new company, Strategic Communications Laboratories, or SCL.
SCL, vital to understand. That was the parent company of Cambridge Analytica.
As someone versed in the ways of psychology, Nigel knew that he needed to impress his clients in order to win them over. To that end, he hired the same company that worked on the sets of the James Bond movie GoldenEye to create his offices in a similar style across all the countries he operated in. He kept away from the public eye, but in his rare interviews he spoke of SCL in a rather bombastic fashion. He said that they employ the same techniques as Aristotle and Hitler, appealing to people on an emotional level. But despite his rhetoric, Nigel's method—
Because he belongs to the same class that invented Adolf Hitler and then lost control of him.
methods proved less than successful.
And I would argue that Donald Trump is almost identical. Not that he's Adolf Hitler, but the same principle. First you fund them, you make a cult, and then you lose control of the cult.
From the little information that's available, we know that in the year 2000,
And that's why they've got Tucker and Candace going hell for leather.
SCL was engaged in a campaign to improve the image of Indonesia's new democratic government after 31 years of dictatorship. The methods SCL reportedly used were less than exemplary. They hosted seminars and bought TV ads in the names of unrelated non-profits, and even USAID, which of course wasn't involved. In one particular instance, SCL tried to get newspapers to publish articles about a secret intelligence report supporting the government that was actually made up. Nigel's methods proved ineffective, for the government was deposed.
Made up documents is classic, like Czech intelligence, and they had all this stuff about Nazis, and what they were trying to do was they were trying to form a wedge between the the Western Europe and NATO. Fake stuff is just normal. Constantly, you got to be very careful whether it's an alt media or a document, WikiLeaks. Be very, very cautious with this stuff.
Less than a year later, the situation soured so much that Nigel was forced to flee to Singapore. A similar project,
Singapore, Little Israel, as they call it in Malaysia,
complete with its own James Bond Operations Center in Bangkok, is known to have happened in June 1999, but the details are basically non-existent. The only thing we know is that it ended badly, and the excuse given by the government was that Nigel had violated immigration laws. Now, today SCL boasts to have operated in over 100 countries, but the Indonesia incident is the first one with any significant media coverage. Before that, Nigel appears to have worked in South Africa in 1994 and in 4 Caribbean countries between 1995 and 1999. We know next to nothing about these early campaigns other than the fact that they happened, but we do know that by the late 2000s, SCL was struggling financially. Clients were hard to come by, and with each campaign bringing in only between $200,000 and $2 million apiece, SCL was in dire straits. To the rescue comes Alexander NIX. Like Nigel, he was a graduate of Eton and was likely well connected. He joined SCL in 2003, and by 2007 he was a director and significant shareholder.
That's an important date, 2007-2008, as Patrick Berge said. We took what we were doing in Iraq and Afghanistan, interactive internet activities. You had who? General Jim Jones out of NATO, Marine Psychological Warfare. He comes, retires, starts his own private company. Who's he working with in 2008? The Obama administration. And so it begins. Then you see the Obama and the multipolar world order. I have the book up there. Expensive, so dry, it's almost unreal, but it's dry. But it shows. First, you go in with George W. Bush, the global village idiot, with Kissinger and the Jewish philosophy running it all. You set it on fire with 2IC of Kissinger and Associates, Paul Bremer. You sack all the Sunnis and the Ba'ath Party people. You tell all the military police to go home. You create absolute chaos, and you let Iran into the region with all the Shia fighting each other and so on. And you set the whole place on fire for what? The purpose of the Ota Junon plan. They were going to use America to smash it to pieces. Then they were withdrawing with Obama. And who was closest to Kissinger out of the Democrats? It wasn't Hillary Clinton. It was Barack Obama, Rahm Emanuel's boy. And they said, we're withdrawing from America. We're going to start withdrawing forces. They canceled, it's very important, they canceled NASA contracts and they eviscerated NASA. And guess what they started doing? They decided to hand it all to SpaceX at triple the damn cost. and Elon Musk, the created by the Ari and Rahm Emanuel show. That's why he's appearing in Marvel. This is the advertising and marketing. This is Cambridge Analytica. This is SCL Group. Can you make the connections? This is military grade level psychological warfare programs. Creating, we started in Dad's garage and we came from nothing. Jeff Bezos, these are all fronts for Rothschild money. All fronts for the old money of Europe. Every single last one of them. All of them. So once you understand the pullback with Obama, pulling back, less and less money spent on NATO, trying to make the Europeans pay for NATO, they refuse. Obama does nothing. He defunds NASA. He's handing it all to SpaceX. He cancels the space shuttle, which was actually very successful and could actually carry 40 tons, 20 tons into low Earth orbit? So far, Elon Musk has made a banana into low Earth orbit. Think about it, a banana. And then what has to happen? Now NASA has to go to where? Has to go to Soyuz. It has to go to Russia to put its people in space. That was very nice of you. That was very nice of you. Who did that? Barack Obama administration. The Biden administration. Pulling back. Now they're getting ready for the coup de grace via Trump, the outsider who they can dispose of. He's going to do lots of dirty deeds, withdraw from the Middle East. He's going to withdraw from all these places. It's all getting ready to go under a nationalist, populist front. But he's all internationalist, getting run by Kissinger, Jared Kushner, Chabad Lubavitch, Cambridge Analytica, that whole British MI6 City of London operation. And it was local. Look, I'm not telling you that they're not. They are actually nationalists that are trying to stop all this right now. Trump's back under control. Now they're putting bases into Israel. They're invading Israel, which I suggested they all do back in 2020. Do you remember? Israel is a regional power and you've got to invade Israel. You can't F around. Lo and behold, they're filling it with bases, never done before. Lo and behold, you have to take over the Middle East and totally control it. That's the only, otherwise, sovereign France and Germany aren't moving in, or a sovereign Russia. City of London, Russia, City of London, China are moving in. And all those morons as they leveled Syria. ISIS didn't level Syria. Russian dome bombs and Assad artillery leveled Syria to the ground. And they said he saved Syria? The place was destroyed. Who wanted it destroyed? Well, that would be his best friend, Benjamin Netanyahu. And the clowns are still supporting Putin. Klaus Schwab, friend for 32 years. My dear Klaus, we first met at Davos in 1992. He's a son of Kissinger and Yevgeny Primakov, the Primakov Doctrine, the multipolar world order. Hello? Somebody tell the young global leaders, Angela Merkel, Pierre Trudeau, Mark Carney, Vladimir Putin, young commissars, young global leaders, young communists. Even Helen Clark down, you don't know about, the old Prime Minister of New Zealand. She's a young, she was a young commissar. She was literally in the Communist Youth League. She's Prime Minister of New Zealand. That place is weird. New Zealand is not progressive unless you're a tranny, a homosexual, or on the run. You're not allowed in. You don't get in. That's like their hiding place for all their weirdos down there in New Zealand. New Zealand's weird. Right, I met some great people down there. Prison officers, some of the police officers. Hey, bro, don't forget your Bible, bro. Very important. These big 6'4", 6 feet wide Maoris. Maori boys talking in their quiet accent, cuzzy. Yeah, don't forget your Bible, bro. I bet you was an LDS Mormon, guaranteed. New Zealand's a weird place. New Zealanders will tell you that. New Zealanders will tell you that some fish and chops. It's the Canada to Australia, like, Australia is America and New Zealand is our Canada. Crossing the Dutch. So once you understand this, 2008, moving into Trump, well, it all got stopped. Multipolar world order off, and now you're seeing the fallout. Mark Carney, January 2026, they got rid of General Xi. What was his name? General Zhu, whatever his name was. He was in the bag. Xi Jinping was in the bag in June 2025. They were even talking about re-engagement with China. That's why Elon Musk was excited, because he thought, now I can keep going. Without China, he's done. But he's clearly never going to be allowed to collapse. It's a sure bet. Just keep investing in SpaceX. It's probably a bargain. It's not going to collapse. They've shown that. It's like AI is not collapsing. It should have collapsed 10 years ago, but it's not happening. So just keep investing. You're going to make more money, less money on gold. You'll make more money by investing on the stock market because there's nowhere for the money to go. Oh, but the bond rate's going down. It's over. I've heard this 1,000 times. There's nowhere to invest your money. Does Germany, does Europe have any aircraft carrier battle groups? Do they have any access to raw materials? Nope, they've been cut off if you haven't noticed. Do you understand? There's only one country. It's America. That's it. They're dominating the planet. However, they have a few problems. Compromat, sexual blackmail, Epstein rings, and the critical infrastructure. And that's the problem. But they are fixing it, but they can't move. They could just kill all these people. They can't move. So we have this game going on. And that's why Carney was running to China, Starmer was running to China January. They're at Davos saying, if we don't get a seat at the table, we're on the menu. This was their last gasp. And they knew they were going to take out their asset, Iran, which sits on that Straits of Hormuz. Now, the US will control Chinese, Asian access to energy. You can see that, right? You can understand that concept. And then they're going to bypass for Europe. Europe plays game. They can separate off Asia from Europe. Europe's playing ball. They've signed up for Pax Silica. They get their oil and energy. Okay? It's all controlled by the US now. If China gets smart, India gets smart, just cut them off from their energy. This is the great game. Do you understand? And do you understand why Candace Owens, Lord Farmer, City of London, and Tucker Carlson and Cambridge Analytica are whining and screaming and running these gigantic campaigns? Do you understand now? Let's finish this off.
It was his idea to focus away from developing countries and towards Europe and the US. But the methods Nigel had employed in Southeast Asia were unlikely to work in the West, so Alexander needed a new technique. He wouldn't find it until 2013, when he hired a man you might be familiar with, Christopher Wiley, who recently gave testimony to the UK government. Now, Chris was a data genius. He had left high school at the age of 16 and was involved in political campaigns in Canada and Great Britain while he was still a teenager. Chris assembled a team of equally gifted programmers and data...
He's just a front end. It's all military intel. It's all NSA, military intel, subcontractors, Israel, private contractors.
...analysts to create a powerful program for SCL. He and his friends worked in Canada, so a company was incorporated...
It's Edward Snowden. That's all the stuff Edward Snowden was working on as well. Remember Edward Snowden? Do you see how he's part of that multipolar world order Kissinger plan? That's how he got out of Hong Kong and got to Russia. That's why he was protected so much. And the Guardian comes out with, oh, America bad. I hate America. Let's go to Russia where it's so free. Did it make any sense when you think about it? But when you understand the multipolar world order and moving it into, and you know, they're spying on Angela Merkel's phone, see, breaking off from Europe, breaking off from the European Union, breaking off from Israel, getting the US to retreat back. Once you understand it, it's all clear. And you will understand Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens.
Incorporated there for this purpose in 2013, Aggregate IQ. The
That's a big
program
one.
they created came to be known as Ripon, a reference to Ripon,
It's based in Canada. Good old Canada.
Wisconsin, the birthplace of the Republican Party. Their application is essentially a giant data warehouse that contains as much information as possible about a given voter's identity. Specifically, it contains demographics, voting history, and party affiliation. On top of that, the voter's profile is supplemented with literally any data that's available, from magazine subscriptions to credit scores. A complex model uses all of this data to create exceptionally well-targeted ads in favor of a specific political candidate. SCL acquired this data from various sources, some public and others.
Not a flock camera in sight. All this hoo-ha on flock cameras. Yeah, sure. Now, ask those same people, your mobile phone is 10 times worse. Get rid of that. They're going to go, flock cameras, oh my God, flock cameras, oh my God. Then say, oh yeah, great, we should get rid of them. Okay, yeah, now get rid of your mobile phone. They'll look at you like you told them to cut their own dick off and eat it. I wouldn't do it. So this is what I mean about the bullshit about hairless ape hypocrites. I just can't stand it. See, you're getting an approved anger management. It's anger management. That's all it is. Flock cameras, blah. What about your mobile phone? Come on.
There's not. The most infamous example is the Facebook data of at least 87 million users, which was acquired under the false pretenses of academic purposes.
Wasn't false at all. It's all military intelligence. It's all in-Q-Tal. It's all City of London. All of them, 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 every time. Let's wind this up. So I hope you get an idea This will stay up on YouTube. I'll put copies up on Facebook, Substack and Patreon for people. Let's quickly go through. We'll start at the bottom and work up. Okay, we've got saved by the blood of Christ people here. See, this is what I mean. You need to know the difference between political and secular and religion. And that's the problem with a lot of the nutcases. They'll sit there all day talking about Christ. Christ didn't stay home posting on social media. He got out and whipped them from the temple. He got his body broken. This clown show's just running around. And they don't need to plant them, but there's millions of the clowns. You know, they're a menace. I'd throw them in the camps along with all the Zionist Israeli firsters and their goy rats. I'd just throw them all in there as well. I'm going to ban you, dude. You've been posting all through here, all right? And I've had enough of you. Goodbye. Here we go. We're into a religious faith. So here we are telling you're all going to die. You might want to get politically moved, get involved in your communities. Hitler, Jesus didn't hide himself away. He was in the temple. He was running around the streets. But these people are going to sit and post all day on military-controlled social media. Okay. There we go. Faith, okay. See how they just pour in? Yeah, it's going to take a few more years rather than just the last 250 to fix this. Can I separate the chat out by chance? Pop out chat. Aha. That's what I'm going to do. So I can show you what I'm looking at. Okay. Here we go. We'll pop that there. All right. Let's start from the bottom. I'm sorry, once you put something in here, I've got to end it sooner or later. Faith without works, 100%. Amen. Faith without works. Everyone online and politics preaches to everyone else how to live without living in that themselves. You've got to get out there and engage with real people. It's going to take a few more years and it's going to take 20 years. That's why you're going to have to be a little bit patient without trusting the plan. I see Crypto Rich is pushing new Q-tard crap. I mean, he's pushing Q-tard. What a joke. There's no shame in those people. He's just after money. He hates his job as a social worker. He said, I hate it. I've got just enough money now to just do my... So if Crypto Rich has enough money from his channels on YouTube, I got to believe he's on 50, 60,000 pounds a year as a senior social worker, many years experience. And yet he's earning enough now from stuff to quit. Then can you please understand how that works? Conspiracy therapist, literally. Where are we? What's this? Who's CEO? CEO is a rabid Zionist, married into rabid Zionist family, benefits from spreading Zoe talking points instead of the truth. Who's CEO? I don't know. Hey, Jaleel. Jaleel's a good man. Protestants don't believe that. That's the problem. All right, I guess I've got to start from the top. When everyone hates Israel, it's early still, saving Israel for last. No, Israel's City of London. We forget GCHQ, the Jewish Border Deputies. It's all out of there. I've just explained. Live in the UK and northwest England in Pendle, Lancashire, local businesses, the council and Pendle police station are infiltrated. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Scottish Rite Masonry. It's all in my UN document. It's always linked below. You'll see Scottish Rite Masonry, secret societies right through the police. Organised crime, they're all one. I've seen it myself in Perth, Western Australia. Troy McCanty's a very famous criminal bikie, private school kid, henna tattoos, Ferrari rather than a Harley, beards optional, silk shirts. It's all a business. It's a corporatised business, and they're all linked in with Israel. They're bank managers at the ANZ Bank, trained at a kibbutz. He's Jewish. It's just Chabad and massive drug money laundering. It's just a huge network. Right in with organised crime, bikies, you name it. It's like the Club Deros. You don't know who they are. They're based in the gold mining world of Kalgoorlie and Esperance on the south coast in that triangle area. There's only 40, 50 members. I don't know what they are now, but you'd hardly know them. They killed Chabrier, a coffin cheater bikie, blew his brains out with an SKK assault rifle. The other guy got hit in the shoulder by a 7.62. It's completely wrecked his body and his shoulder. That's why I know. I was working then on orthopedics. That's where he was in there. Chabrier. So not Chabrier, his mate, who was the passenger in the car. He got hit in the shoulder from 20 feet away by an SKK assault rifle. Not even as powerful as that big 30-06. Remember, the assault rifles have got a same 7.62, but they don't have a huge casing. It's only a 39 millimeter casing, whereas it's not 50 millimeters. like the full size round, the full size 7.62. Well, a 30-06 even bigger. But you're going to tell me Charlie's next. See, that's all you need to know. I don't need Candace to tell me it's a fraud. But the Club Darrows are right in with the Jewish mob and Chabad. Direct links. That's what you hardly ever hear about. Jesus wanted to see the cross and he never wanted to be worshipped. Elvis Pike is laughing his ass off in his grave. No, I think he's in hell. All right, Nasser is, see, this is what I mean. Nasser is fucking gay anyway. Just good. Just good. I'm just, from now on, I just get, if you believe viruses don't exist, the earth is flat, we never landed on the moon. Look, you're so far behind. I watched this stuff 25 years ago. All right, 25 years ago. I read other losses 30 years ago. All right, the stuff these people, did you know? And I was like, dude, that's 25 years ago. I presented that stuff. Just stop, please, please. We can save a lot of time. I'm going to play old and wise on you. Just stop. There's probably nothing I have not read that you've just discovered. All right, and now you're woke and red-pilled, ready to go. And it's like, just, okay, fair enough. I just think, God. Look, you've got to be able to understand that funny thing happened on the way to the moon was terrible. The photographic stuff was ridiculous. They had no idea what they were talking about. And but what they really pointed out, which is so obvious, they're just back from one of the greatest human accomplishments in history, Armstrong and all the rest of them. They've had 3 days to rest. They've been in isolation for 3 days. They're well rested now. Now they meet the media, and it looks like they're about to go and face a firing squad. Oh yeah, I don't know. I didn't see any stars. There you go. First hint. I believe, I don't know if they went the first time. They definitely went after. I believe they faked a bunch of stuff because they were worried about things working. They were really worried about things working. Also the fact that they were faking being far away from the Earth when they were close. All right, I believed it's all fake. Oh my God, they faked the moon landing. Once you go through, you come out, okay. You start to understand all the stuff they had to automatically track the lunar lifter when it lifted off the ground. They had all that stuff done, the camera technology, all that stuff. They clearly landed on the moon. However, there are some glaring holes in the first one. I mean, glaring. And you can't blame people for questioning. But if you actually sit, go over stuff over time, okay, what's the most likely explanation? They went, but they might have dodged up some of the footage and stuff. Quite possibly, but there's just things you can't do in a studio to do with dust plumes and how things move in vacuums and stuff like that. Right? You just can't do it. So you're just going to have to say the most likely explanation is something else. But you know what? Why don't you stop and focus on what's most important? Mary Silver's killing it out there, and you don't give a shit. That's why I just get rid of people that can't focus. I know people that believe the earth is flat, but you know what? They don't wear it on their sleeves. They just keep their mouth shut and go on about their day. I've got no problem with those people. But when you start coming on here with your driveling shit, and just go away. Just you're mentally retarded, syphilitic monkey. I want intelligent people, grown adults. You can believe all sorts of things, but you know when to talk about it and when to keep your fucking mouth shut. If you don't know when to keep your fucking mouth shut, I do what I would like to do, put a bullet in your head, but if I can't do that, I just delete you when you're gone. Go. You do realise what's going on right now, right? You do realise the life of your children is on the line now. You do realise, no, we're not, after COVID, it should be pretty obvious how far they're prepared to go. So I take it you're a little focused? Are you a little focused? See, the trouble is this, you had it too easy. I definitely believe they're going to be switching power off, but it's going to be US government doing it state by state to give everyone a slap in the fucking mouth. Life is serious. The milk does not magically appear on your motherfucking shelves. Cunt. You better wake the fuck up and get fucking focused. And if you're too fucking stupid, number one, you're deleted offline. Number two, maybe you need to be deleted off the face of the fucking earth. Because millions of people are dead because of mentally ill morons run riot on the internet. Before we ever get down to Jewzzz and industrial scale private military contractors running around with crisis actors, we've got mentally ill lunatics who appear to have a lot of time on their hands. You've got to get rid of them. Get rid of them. Get them out of your life. Man, that's coming through loud. Get rid of them. Don't entertain them. I don't care if they're giving you $10, like some smart ass was giving me $250 a month and thought he could. I just said, dude, you're deleted. Goodbye. Thanks for the $250. I'll be keeping that. Not interested in morons. Look at what has been accomplished by grown adults focusing on national security. Focusing. Look what Mary Silver has done. Focusing. Not going to the white nationalist movement. I mean, if you're a real white nationalist, Sieg Heil, you love Hitler, you should be glad about Mary Silver. You should be smart. Hey, let's get rid of our tattoos. Let's infiltrate. But see, you're so fucking stupid because you're a moron. I pray you haven't bred. But I remember Mike Delaney was actually intelligent. Little street thug. Mike Delaney, Missing Links. Chris Berlin's work was brilliant stuff. He never wore that on his sleeve. He was always quiet and polite, and he got out on the street. Look at the fags now. All these white nationalist faggots. They're all closet homosexuals. They're all drug dealers. They're on probation. They've got kiddie porn on their computers. They're like Nick Fuentes. He's got millions of dollars. They gave him his money back. They keep his bank accounts open. Oh, I've been victimized. Dude, you got 400 grand of Bitcoin. They gave it back to you. You've got a $1.8 million house in your parents' name. You've paid it off. You are well compensated by your Fed friends and whoever you've got down there at the Heritage Foundation when you handed over your mailing lists and your subscriber count. I mean, Nick Fuentes will end up dead. They'll get rid of him like they'll get rid of Andrew Tate. Fuentes will probably be murdered in his house and dismembered. I actually had a vision that he would be murdered in his house and literally dismembered and disemboweled. I literally saw it in a vision. You can believe it, whatever. He's a walking dead man, Nick Fuentes. They'll sacrifice him, just like they sacrificed the Tates. They build him up and then they take him down. But if you're a fucking clown, get out of my fucking life. Get out of the fucking feed. Get out. Oh, my God, look how many messages half these people have heard. Anyway, that's enough. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the stream. I hope you can at least show it to some of your friends. I'm fucking serious. We've achieved miracles. I'm not letting clowns in. It's just not happening. All right? I delete hundreds of people off my YouTube. Hundreds. It's free. You're not going to get and have your silly debate for free. You can come onto Patreon and give me $10. You might actually ask me an intelligent question. Look at what we've achieved. Look at this. You know, the Heritage Foundation downloaded it and read it. They adore me. It's the Heritage Foundation. They adore me. I got General Millie's JAG contacting me for crying out loud. SOCOM, JSOC. Look what's been done with Mary Silver. Because I got balls and I have courage. I have courage. And I didn't even have kids. Yet I thought, I have to do something. I can't just sit here. Everyone's just sitting online. Let's talk to the police. Let's get this information into the public domain. What a wild ride. Ballsy. Yeah, I am. I'm fucking ballsy. I ain't a kung fu master. I get scared like everyone else. But when it comes to corruption and the state and corporatists and all the rest, I'll cut your head off and drink your blood. Literally, I will literally cut your heads off. I pray that God get me to the US. Let me run the roundups. I'm coming for you. I've come this far through Iran, through Lebanon, through jail, through Malaysia, and here I sit. I'm telling you, I'm going to come for you. I'm going to find you. I'm going to get that psychological profiling data. I'm going to get just like the East German Stasi, when it all came down, Germans got a hold of all the documents. Who was working. I'm going to find you. I'm going to find you, man. You're going to get dealt with, physically dealt with. So get on your planes, find your new place to live. If you've been a rat for the Feds, save your drug money, go to Russia, go to the front in Ukraine and die. Just get rid of your stinking, filthy genetic DNA garbage from the face of this earth. I want to live with normal human beings, whether they're Muslim, Jew, Christian, atheist, communist, who don't need an ideology to live. Oh, you need some sugar? Shit, I got plenty of sugar. Here, have a cup of sugar. Thanks. Hey, could you give me a hand with my computer? I don't know computers. Hey, not a problem. I'm your neighbour. Hey, is someone hungry? Oh, Bill lost his job. He broke his leg. Well, let's go and help our neighbour. I don't need a socialist doctrine, a communist doctrine, a capitalist doctrine. I don't even need a Christian doctrine. It's called love. I and the other are one. What you do to the least of my brethren, you do unto me. It's your community. It's your familial bonds in struggle. And if you can't even think clearly, logically, and stay focused, and put aside your little pet project or your pet subject, the Satanists, Just stop your driveling garbage. These people aren't controlled by Satanist baby killers. That stuff goes on. They're controlled by the IRS. They're controlled by dodgy deals. They're controlled by military intelligence training programs and psychological warfare programs. That's who they control. Private contractors, as Bill Binney said. They just privately contracted out all this stuff and just left it wide open and charged 5 times more to the US taxpayer and the British taxpayer. We forget about GCHQ. Oh, yeah, they're operating right through there. After Edward Snowden, what happened to all the databases, all the psychological profiling of Americans? You know where it went? Well, it went to Israel, Germany, and London. That's where it's all held now. Thank you, Edward Snowden. How kind. The Crown thanks you immensely for this data. You think it's stupid? Can you see what's going on? You should have worked out good old Candace OWENS by now. You should have. I mean, if you find, send to my email someone who mentions that her daddy-in-law is best friends with Lord Jacob and King Charles. Please, on the Council of Christians and Jews, because I haven't seen it anywhere. She's married into the highest levels of the British establishment. The Lord Farmers and the peers. She's a multi-millionaire, a crass, psychotic opportunist, piece of garbage, pretending to attack the Jews. The Jews! Pops up, attack them on the Talmud. I mean, if you're willing to say such Jew-baiting rhetoric as she has said and Tucker Carlson has said, you'd think they'd be able to tell me who did 9/11. You'd think they'd tell me all about the Talmud. You'd think they'd get Michael Hoffman of Revisionist History on, Judaism Discovered. They'd get an expert. You'd think they'd get Reverend Ted Pike, may his wife Aline rest in peace. Reverend Ted Pike, The Other Israel, Why the Mideast Bleeds. Classics. They're over 25 years old. You'd think you'd get on the... She does nothing. She mentioned Professor Tony Martin. Professor Tony Martin was pushed by the highest levels of the Biden administration, but she can't mention who he actually is. She just says, I'll talk about Professor Tony Martin. That's the guy who exposed Jews were running the slave trade, the Portuguese and Spanish Jews running the slave trade. Forget about the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Khazars from Russia. They got nothing on the Portuguese, Spanish Jews. They're down here running the whole damn drug trade. They run all the diamonds out of the Netherlands. The Portuguese, Spanish Jews, the oldest synagogues in America, are Portuguese. Oh, yes, indeedy. Well, the conversos down here in Mexico, Central and South America. And Mexicans are very well versed in this stuff, believe me. They don't bother using terms like Jewish power, political Zionism. They just say Jews outright. It's all through Mexican alt media now, all through the Mexican multi-million subscriber channels about Jews running the drug trade, and they're all running to Israel whenever they get caught. It's all through the alt media here. Now, if only Americans would work it out and have a look at all the people in Wall Street laundering the drug money. So in closing, if you want to attack Trump, Tucker Carlson, why don't you get him on Wall Street in the 2008 crash? No one's been held accountable. Bannon goes on about it all the time. Why don't you ask him about paper ballots? That was a big one. Why don't you ask him about Chabad Lubavitch, a racist, lunatic, national security risk, and all the Hasidim? He's not going to say a damn word. Not going to say a damn freaking word, because that leads back to home base and Count Dracula, Rothschild. It leads all back to the City of London, so they can't say too much. Tell about 9/11, but Tucker doesn't know. If only the CIA would release the files. We could go on and on and on, and Mary Silver led with everything. 9/11, paper ballots, all the promises, Wall Street, drug money laundering, and she got 42,000 votes. Del Benny got 83. The multi-millionaire Cayman Island account holder, pushed by the highest levels of the Democrat establishment. Mary Silver did that, and they said all the top-level Republicans there are all Democrats, plainly. And now she's got the grassroots are really helping her out now. They've had enough. And the way the Trump administration just flobbed off, told us straight out that Washington State's a waste of time, because they've set that aside as a smart city state. That's where they're going to push everyone. First they came for the blue head devils and the socialists, then they're going to come for us. Have you seen any backing off of robotics and automated killing machines from the Trump administration? No, they're accelerating it. They're talking more and more about smart cities with their friend Peter Thiel. More and more. So we know where this is heading. I said from day dot, it's a Catholic orphanage, and the new priests are a little kinder to the children, but they're still raping them. They're giving them Xboxes. They're painting the Catholic orphanage. They're making it nicer. They're putting a playground in, but they're still raping them. I've said that from day one. But what you have now is a loosening. It's like when Stalin died and you had Khrushchev, still communist, still locking people up, but you had more opportunities now. The hands came away from the neck. You could breathe. You have opportunities to fix this. And nothing, it just kills so many people. The only person that has ever interviewed Mary Silver, enthusiastically interviewed her, is Jeff Rense. That's it. Nobody else. So you tell me. And we pushed her night and day, dozens of people. Couldn't get an interview. Literal, complete disinterest. What does that tell you? God is in control. You have a great day. The next video will be on GPT. Yeah, this stuff, it'll seem obscure, but your chat GPT, OpenAI, it's not going. You think it's not going to be around? It's going to be around. Mossad in ASIO office, all this is coming. The TSMC is now ramping up production by 5 times. 5 times. The memory module makers are going hell for leather. They're building in the US. They're building billions in South Korea. It's all over. The AI bubble's going to pop. You remember that. You remember every single one of those people. Here we are. Where are we? You remember. Whoop, that's a bit loud. You remember every single one of those people that the AI bubble's going to pop. I was one of the few in any of this region that said, it's garbage. This is going to go on. There'll be ups and downs. This thing is here to stay. It's a national security. It's a Manhattan project. Well, come on, who's right and who's wrong? Let's see when the pop. And in 6 months, it's all over. The US dollar's going down. The economy's going up. Bark! Oh, yeah. And they'll be masturbating away. Please buy coffee mugs before the end. And it's all bullshit. And I'm going to be sitting here crowing like a rooster. I double down. I triple down. The US is running the straits. We'll run out of food. There's no fertilizer. I said, oh, yeah, I feel so good. What fucking shit. I'm so sick of these people. Finally, they're going to cut their own throats. Pluto is in Aquarius. God and the hand of God and the Holy Spirit is moving over this whole lot. This is the age of destruction. This is the age of Kali Yuga. The old systems are going to come crashing down so hard. And I just can't wait to hear that Nick Fuentes is in his home in several pieces. And I'm praying, I told you, get on a plane and leave the United States now. Get on a plane before it's too late. Get out. Go from this place. Go. Talk soon.